roadblock here in Kwale. This is one of the roadblocks set by the national government or by the government following the directives of the President Uhuru Kenyatta. And as you can see behind me, there are a couple of officers who are manning this area. And here is the Kinango South County Assistant County Commissioner, who is also supervising this exercise that is going on. We are actually seeing a vehicle there being told to go back, not to return, and it's one of the vehicles that I think are carrying goods. We are not sure what it is, but it's an exercise that started last night, that is 7 p.m., and my colleague Kevin Mtai was on the other side of the country, following the manning of these roadblocks. And we're actually having the roadblocks in Kilifi, Mombasa, and Kwale. Now, from here to Kwale, all the people are coming from Nairobi heading to Mombasa. You have to go through Kwale. This is the first roadblock, and it's here in Makinon Road in Kinango. Then there's another roadblock that is in Mariakani, that is Kilifi roadblock. Then you go ahead and get the other roadblock that is in Changamwe in Mombasa. And according to the Assistant County Commissioner just behind me, she told me that we have vehicles that are allowed to pass, and these are vehicles carrying food, fuel, and health accessories, or things that are used to, vehicles that will be carrying things that are going to support the medics in terms of health. It's an issue that we've been following up, but I've also noticed that there are small vehicles, or we can say vehicles that are carrying individuals, and I noted we have vehicles under Kenya Garage, or with the number plate of Kenya Garage. These are vehicles that are being transported to the owners, and I think there's a certain document that they are showing up on the roadblock here, just to be given access to pass. It's an issue that we'll be going on with, and I'll be standby here. We are waiting for the Kinango Deputy County Commissioner to be here. He's not yet here, and we are standby to follow any eventuality or any development that will be arising in the course of the day. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Bill. And speaking of development, several developments were announced by the Ministry of Health yesterday, and that is the CAS, Chief Administrative Secretary for Health. She did mention that they are partnering with Safaricom on and several other corporations on how we can mitigate the negative effects of COVID-19. And joining me this morning to take this particular conversation forward, I don't know whether you can see her. She's on Skype. Just track down her bio, make sure I get everything right. Yes, I am joined by Fauzia Ali. She's the head of Department Digital Product and Services. Good morning, Fauzia.
Good morning.
Good to have you on this morning. I see the connection is very clear, so Safaricom must be doing a good job. Just to give a bit of a brief on what we are discussing this morning. Now, on Friday, that is April the 3rd, Safaricom rolled out Bonga for Good. Now, that is an initiative that will see customers use Bonga points to pay for essential goods and services in the wake of the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The initiative will also empower customers to donate their Bonga points to those in need as a show of goodwill during this period. So, Fauzia, what is Bonga for Good all about, and what inspired Safaricom to come up with this campaign?
First, thank you very much for having us this morning. Bonga for Good is an initiative that we launched, as you've said, last week on Friday, 3rd April. We were inspired by the Kenyan spirit of coming together to support one another in times of need, because what we have noticed is that there are quite a number of Kenyans who have lost their jobs, Kenyans who used to earn a daily wage, and even those who used to work and earn a monthly salary because of social distancing and the conditions that we've had to, and the measures we've had to make following the direction from the Ministry of Health. What has happened is that quite a number of Kenyans have had to stay at home and not work. And what we saw was that quite a number of Kenyans are actually struggling to put food on their table. So what we saw is that we could actually leverage our Bonga loyalty scheme, which was introduced in 2007, and extend its use from the usual redemption for airtime, data, and devices, and actually use a functionality that we called Bonga Popote, a functionality that allows our customers to redeem their Bonga points when making payments at any outlet that has Lipa na M-Pesa, and to use this functionality to actually buy food and other essentials. And it's quite simple in terms of how it can be applied in terms of helping Kenyans in this time of need.
Okay, so you say it's quite simple in terms of how it can be applied. I think I read somewhere that there are 140,000 Lipa na M-Pesa merchants countrywide. So could you walk us through the process? Let's say there's a supermarket, they have a Lipa na M-Pesa facility. What do I do when I get to the till? How do I redeem those points?
So first and foremost, what we are asking is for Kenyans who are actually who are holding a lot of their Bonga points. We are asking and seeking them to actually transfer those Bonga points to someone they know who is in need. And the person who actually receives those points will go to any merchant, and when they get there, they'll pick whatever it is that they need to buy. When they go to the till, they'll go to their phones, they'll dial *126#. They'll select the first option. It is called Lipa na Bonga, and they'll follow the prompt and enter the amount, enter their PIN, and they'll make a payment. So what will happen in this regard is that they'll actually be able to use their Bonga points to buy for their goods, and the merchant on the other end will not receive Bonga points, but will receive Kenya shillings equivalent at their till. So with this, actually, they are using their Bonga points not only in the usual way they're used to, which is to redeem for airtime and data, but actually to buy for essential goods and services for their families.
Okay, so how much does one Bonga point translate to?
So ordinarily, under what we used to call Bonga Popote, which is the functionality we are using, one Bonga point was equivalent to 20 cents. But in this campaign, so that the point can stretch a little bit for Kenyans, we have increased that by 50%, and one Bonga point can be used for up to 30 cents. And what we've seen, for as little as 1670 points, by working with various supermarkets, a customer can actually be able to redeem 2 kilogram packet of maize flour. They can get rice. They can actually get cooking fat, 500 ml, and they can get a packet of milk. So for as little as 1670, you can actually be able to feed a family for a couple of days. For 5,000 Bonga points, someone can actually get shopping for 1,500 shillings. And what supermarkets have actually done, working with the Naivas, Eastmart, Tuskys, Quickmart, and many others that have joined, Mulei, Carrefour, so many more across the country, what we've seen is that customers, they've actually sort of like packaged sort of like a kit so that when you go there, you can pick a pack. But of course, we are leaving it open for a customer to buy what it is that they need. And then when they go to the counter, they use the option of Lipa na Bonga by dialing *126# and selecting the first option, following the prompts, and making the payment at that, the payment at that point.
Okay, wait. So is it still *126# even when I want to transfer my Bonga points to somebody who needs them perhaps more than I do?
Yes, actually, you just go to *126# and select the fifth option, transfer Bonga points. It will bring an open field for you to put the number. And the beauty of this is that you're actually transferring it to someone you know who is in need. Whether it's that neighbor who used to come and wash for you clothes, whether it's the person who used to, bring for you mandazis at tea time when you used to work, the person who used to make your hair, the Mjengo person who probably was working in your Mjengo, but now you've had to shut down because of social distancing. The person you're transferring the Bonga points is someone you know, so you can make a significant impact to someone you actually know, and that's the beauty of this campaign.
All right. So how has COVID-19 affected your operations? Are you, for example, speaking to us from home?
So we've actually been working from home for quite a while. What has happened is that our IT department has done a fantastic job. They've given us what is called secure connections from the house. For most of us, of course, we're already on Safaricom fiber, and even if we're not on fiber, we are tethering on 4G network. So most of us are actually working from home, and that has been the norm. We're having our meetings on various platforms, whether it's Zoom or Teams, and actually running operations from home. But further, in what we've also seen in terms of support for our customers and also working with government, we've provided a call center. We've integrated a toll-free line, 719, where Kenyans are actually able to call if they need any help. And that it's actually been set up by the National Emergency Response Committee on coronavirus to support Kenyans in understanding how to prevent it, how to manage it. If you feel like you're sick, what is it that you should be able to do? Any calls you make to 719 are zero rated. We have also doubled the bandwidth of our fiber customers, because what we've noticed is that there was quite a big upsurge in traffic from our bandwidth. From customers who are working from home, upwards of over 30%. So we've seen a great need for people to work from home and to study. In the month of March, we actually saw quite a number of requests for home connections. And that actually we were able to support. We're also seeing quite a number of calls coming through, use of the internet. So our technology teams are at hand to support, especially because we know that quite a number of people are working and also studying from home. From an M-Pesa perspective, we've zero-rated transactions below 1,000 shillings. And what we've noticed is that there are quite a number of customers who are now using the service. And that is actually helping quite a number of Kenyans. We have zero-rated all medical pay bills. So, for example, if you went to Gertrude and made a payment on their pay bill, there'll be a small charge. Now it is free, just to support Kenyans in this time of need. So we've done that for all medical pay bills, whether it's in a public hospital or in a private health facility. We've also partnered with education partners who provide digital content on education. So working with a partner called Eneza. So a customer can just dial *291# and you'll get quite a bit of content there. There are a lot of past papers in all the subjects to help our children as they're at home now to prepare for exams or just to do their revision. And then finally, from the perspective of providing to our customers, for example, if you feel you need to come to the shop, actually with offered options, you can either use Zuri, or you can also send your whatever concern you have on 100, whether it's via SMS, so that you don't have to. You can also call, but you might not even need to call. You can just send a text and someone will be able to respond to you. But you do need to come to our shops. We've tried to create an element of social distancing. So customers will see that we are not allowing everybody to come into the shop. We are limiting the numbers of those coming into the shop so that we can ensure that we align to what has been guided to us by the Ministry of Health. We provided sanitation as well at that point. Of course, from today, we are requesting customers as they come to our shop, please come wearing a mask as has been advised, so that we can ensure that we just reduce the instances of reinfecting each other.
Okay, so do all your shops remain open, and they're operating between which and which hours?
So our shops remain open. We used to open a little bit later, but currently all our shops are currently closing at 4 p.m. So you can be able to visit all our shops. We are currently open and operational. What we have tried to limit slightly is what we call our care desks. We had quite a number of care desks spread across the country. There are some in very highly populated areas where we've tried to put in place social distancing, and it has created a bit of a concern. So, for example, our care desk in Kikomba, we've had to close it because it's quite difficult because of the huge numbers to manage social distancing. But all our shops are open. And of course, if you need any assistance, you can call our call center. We are fully operational to provide support to our customers.
Do your technical service providers, the technicians, do they qualify as essential service providers?
Yes, they qualify as essential service providers. So we have provided them with protective gear so that they are able to respond to the needs of customers. Of course, now the need for customers and the urgency to respond to queries whenever there is a downtime is even higher. So all our contractors are on standby to provide the necessary support to our customers. Whenever there's any downtime in any area, we're also sending messages to our customers so that they know that the service is down and that we are going to address it as quickly as possible. But all our providers who are termed as essential service providers are in operation.
All right. Thank you so much, Fauzia, for speaking to us this morning. Fauzia Ali is the HOD, Digital Products and Services. I hope I can engage you further on what else Safaricom is doing to make lives easier. over these COVID-19 days. She's spoken on several things, including Bonga for Good. Let me make sure it's, yes, let me make sure I get it right. *126# if I'm not mistaken. Yes, *126#. Go through the prompts. You can donate your Bonga points to somebody who needs them. They can then redeem them at a point of purchase. Safaricom has 140,000 Lipa and M-Pesa merchants countrywide. One Bonga point translates to... Yes, they've increased actually the value by 50%, and one Bonga point translates to 30 cents, up from 20 cents. She's also talked about the Safaricom zero rating, all medical pay bill numbers. If you've been transacting with Safaricom, which you should have been to avoid spreading COVID-19, with M-Pesa, you should have noticed that if you're sending amounts less than 1,000, that has also been zero rated. All right, that was Fauzia Ali speaking to us on why Safaricom is for you. Okay, now we cross over to Kisii County, where we have Janet Nyamwamu standing by. Janet is going to be speaking to us on some unrest that has been witnessed there, and more than 10 houses were torched and several others vandalized in fresh Interclan clashes in Transmara West sub-county, and that is Narok. Janet, have you been crossing borders?
Good morning. We are well here in Kisii, and well, yesterday our team from Nation here in Kisii visited Transmara, which is bordering Kisii at the town of Kilgoris, at a place known as No Saen and No Ratet. The clans there are still fighting, and more than 10 houses have been torched, and the people there are wondering where the leaders are, because they are not seeing the leaders. The leaders are very silent on the matter. The leaders, who is the MP and the area governor, the residents there are wondering what's happening with the leaders, because the clashes have been going on for like 10 decades now. The villages that have been affected are Sikawa, Moita, Ndonyo, and Oldanyati villages, which have been affected by the clashes. And the 10 houses that were burnt, some of them were burnt, the more than 10 houses, some of them were burnt last Friday, and 2 suspects have been so far arrested by the security personnel and the security agents in that area. The Transmara Security Committee has visited that area and has been holding several talks to calm down and restore peace in those clans. The KNMCA, Mark Mukut, said the situation was getting out of hand and is appealing to the government to get to the bottom of these clashes. Residents are, as I've said, are accusing elected leaders who are asking why Governor Samuel Tadui and MP Gideon Conchela remained silent about the matter. 2 weeks ago, a 15-year-old student was killed by the police during bloody confrontations with warriors there. And the Form 2 student, we were told, schools at Migori County. He was at home following the government's order to close schools as a result of the dreaded pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic. 2 other boys were rushed to Tenwek Mission Hospital in Bomet County, and they were treated and discharged. Police say the 3 boys were shot in a war zone, but residents claim they were watching the fighting from their homes. So authorities have unsuccessfully tried to end the clashes that have lasted for 3 decades. The Transmara inter-border dispute, which has left dozens dead and hundreds maimed, has raged on since 1976, and according to the government, that's according to the government records. Rift Valley Regional Coordinator George Natembeya recently led other security operators and officers in denouncing the violence and moving and vowing to embrace peace in that area. So that's what we found out when we went there to see what's happening, because there were calls coming in that there are clashes, and our team visited the area, and that's what we found in Transmara.
Thank you, Janet. And thank you for giving us that context to the clashes that were witnessed on Tuesday evening. She says more than 10 houses were torched and several others vandalized in fresh interclan clashes in Transmara West sub-county, which borders Kisii County, where Janet was speaking to us from. And now we cross over to Makueni County, and there we have Kelvin Silu, my apologies, Kelvin. And he'll be speaking to us on the adjustments to the operations at the County Referral Hospital. He tells us, he'll be telling us about the isolation center at the facility. And he says that those who are visiting the facility have their temperature checked and then step on disinfectant at certain points. Is that accurate, Kelvin? Kelvin, can you hear me? All right, that is Kelvin Kisilu.
Well, a very good morning to you. I'm joining you live from Makueni County Water, and today here we are joined by the ECM in charge of health and in the county of Makueni, Dr. Andrew Mutava-Muloch, to just give us a brief on what is happening and what Makueni County is doing in terms of fighting coronavirus in this area. And just in the morning, while we were entering the gate of Makueni Level 4 Hospital, we found patients and anybody else who was visiting the hospital being disinfected at the feet, and others being maybe screened temperatures as they enter the gate at the Makueni County Referral Hospital. And the Makueni County Referral Hospital has put some measures to make sure that this disease does not spread further. And just to say that some of guidelines that they have put in place today is that when you are entering the gate, you enter alone, and when it comes to bed capacity, initially at the wards we used to have more than 20 patients in the wards, but now they have reduced to a bit a lower number. And just now I'm being joined by the ECM, or rather executive committee member in charge of health department Makueni County, to give us a brief of what is really happening here in Makueni. Karibu Bwana Waziri.
Thank you very much, Kevin. We are here at the Makueni County Referral Hospital. Us as a county, we are prepared, and our first priority preparedness is to ensure that we as much as possible try to prevent this disease from getting into Makueni. As we report now, we have not had a confirmed case of COVID-19. We are, however, on the alert, and our surveillance teams have been following up leads or suspected cases that have been coming from the communities. Here we have behind me, we have the County Referral Hospital Isolation Center, which we intend to use as a critical care center, because this is a facility that has 11 beds, that all of them connected to oxygen. Remember, we have our own oxygen generating plant. We are able to pipe oxygen in this facility. We have beds, we have 6 ventilators. We are also having another now treatment center in Makindu, which is able to accommodate 750 clients. And that will be essentially our normal treatment center. For cases that do not have severe complications, we expect them to be managed in that Makindu treatment center. For this one is for critically ill, acting like a referral hospital. On my right, there is another building which we have reserved for other non-critically sick patients who will be able to come to our county referral hospital. So we have this unit that has 11 beds, and we have another unit that has 10 beds. So in total, in the county referral hospital, we have 21 facilities. We are doing infection prevention. As you enter the hospital, you have to be sanitized. You have to wash your hands. You have to have hand sanitizer. We have also limited the number of people who are visiting our patients in the hospital. We have asked our members of public to declare just one member of the public who is declared at the time of a patient is being admitted.
Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Kelvin, I have to get used to that one, Kelvin Silu, who was speaking to the CEC Health in Makueni County on their preparations for COVID-19. They say they do not have a case yet, but they have an isolation facility in place. And he was telling us of the measures that have been taken at the county referral hospital, including getting your temperature checked and stepping in disinfectant. We now cross over to Murang'a County, where we have Martin Mwaura. And there, according to the brief I have, there have been cases of alleged police brutality and bribe taking. Can you shed more light on that, Martin?
Yes, good morning from County 021 Olive. As you have rightly said, yes, there are an array of allegations from the residents of Murang'a town accusing the police, together with the administrators, of what they're calling as brutal attacks against the residents during the curfew, which starts from 7. So now some of the residents here are even accusing the police and even the administrator, that is the chiefs and the assistants, of what they're calling as seeking for bribes or asking for bribes after the arrest during the curfew. The most affected constituency is Kegumo constituency, where they have recorded, managed to record 6 cases of police brutality and even bribe. This is a story that we'll also be bringing at our subsequent bulletin. And to bring to your attention is that the residents are accusing the police of using excess force. Some of them are even saying that the police are actually pouncing on them even before time, like 5 minutes to 7, when they are heading home. And they're using what they're calling as excess force. And some of them have actually been left nursing serious head, legs, and hand injuries. Also, something else that has come to our attention is the police are actually demanding for a bribe of between 5,000 and 15,000, depending on who they have arrested. I'm being informed that one look at you, maybe by the dressing mode, they can be able to determine. Or even some are saying that it is the chief who is determining. The chief know people very well from their various locations. It is the chief who is determining the amount of bribe that the police will ask from somebody. I have cases of people who are arrested. Some were actually, the police were asking for 25,000 shillings. But some have managed to negotiate to 15,000 shillings. Others they are paying in installment the so-called bribes. So they're asking the police, the CS in charge of interior, to kindly intervene to ensure that this does not continue. Some are saying that some of the policemen, not all, but some of the policemen and the administrators are taking advantage of this curfew to try and make money and also assault the residents. They're even asking IPOA to come in and investigate so that stand action can be taken against these people who are beating the residents. Now from Murang'a, that is all we have, but we'll be bringing more in details during our subsequent bulletin. And I just want to take you to our Mombasa correspondent, Kevin Mutai, for more. Kevin, to you.
Now, thanks so much, my colleague Martin Mwaura. Here in the coast region specifically, I'm in Mombasa and working from home, but what we can tell you is that the commencement of the containment, the secessional movement began yesterday at 7 p.m. and we saw few people get stranded as they were being blocked at police roadblocks. Remember, there are several roadblocks that have been erected by law enforcers here within the 3 counties, that is the counties of Kilifi, Kwale, and Mombasa. Between Likoni and Kwale, there are 2. There's one in Gombeni and there's another one in Kombani along the highway from Mombasa to Nairobi. There's one in Bonje area and another one in Mazeras. And on this other way from Mombasa to Malindi, there are 2 roadblocks as well, one from Kilifi County in Mtwapa and another one as well at Shanzu. And we even saw that there are several people, hundreds if not thousands, who are residing in Mtwapa and working in Mombasa. So all of that, all those number of people have been banned from accessing or crossing over from their county to Mombasa. And of course, I'm sure that this is something that the authorities maintain that they will continue implementing until the end of 21 days. So Mombasa, Kilifi, and Kwale are no-go zones for anyone planning to come over here or anyone planning to leave the three counties. This is in efforts to combat the spread of the coronavirus. Remember, out of the 179 cases that are currently the positive cases here in the country, the three counties here in the coastal strip have been mapped and as the hotspots, and of course now it is up to the health authorities to continue tracing the persons who had come into contact with the positive cases. And according to some of a few that we spoke to, this is something that they can now manage since they've contained movement of people from here in the region and of course from outside as well. So this is something that is of key concern and we are following up. Remember also, before I wind up this link, is that we're expecting the deputy governor from Kilifi, that is Gideon Saburi, to be back in court today. Remember, on Monday when Saburi was taken to court, the DPP had filed an application seeking to have him detained at Manyani GK prison, and that is according to the DPP, they're saying that they argued that at that particular facility they have adequate isolation, an equipped isolation center, and we were informed that anytime from 9, that is when we're expecting that application, the ruling on that particular application to begin. So we are following up on various issues that are happening here in the coast region, and of course we will be updating you in our subsequent bulletins. Make sure you stay tuned to NTV, and we'll give you an update of what you need to know from the coast region.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin speaking to us from his rooftop. And I have to admit, I envy his view. I live on the ground floor, so I have no view. All right, we now cross over to Nyeri County, more specifically the Dedan Kimathi University. And Melita Oletenges will be telling us, or rather has told us in his pre-production brief, that they're manufacturing masks and that leaders in that county have faced backlash over what people say are PR gimmicks in fighting COVID-19. Melita, why do they say their leaders are just playing PR?
Yes, indeed, Olive, the county government of Nyeri has made several interventions to stem the spread of coronavirus here in the county. And of course, remember, Nyeri has not even registered a single case, but the county is very serious on ensuring that every citizen of this county follows the guidelines provided or as directed by the national government and the president and the Ministry of Health. So, Olive, we've seen that the county government has already started the distribution of hand sanitizers. 13,000 liters of sanitizer was distributed by Kibos Sugar Company to the county government of Nyeri, and the county government, of course, has started now to distribute these sanitizers after repackaging them into small bottles, just to ensure that each and every citizen of this county will be provided with hand sanitizer in order to sanitize their hands, as well as also ensure that they are safe from the COVID-19 disease. Away from that, also, Olive, we've also seen institutions also joining the fight against COVID-19. We've seen the Dedan Kimathi University of Science and Technology here in Nyeri making masks and distributing to county governments. We've seen them distributing to Nyeri County and also Laikipia County governments, and they are making they are actually manufacturing face masks just to ensure that also every citizen of the county is safe from the virus. Now, however, there has been a backlash on leaders who are using these particular donations from well-wishers as a way to propagate their own PR gimmicks, and this is something that has caused an uproar on social media. We've seen residents particularly attacking the Nyeri County governor, saying that the sanitizer that was distributed by Kibos Sugar Company has now been labeled with his own picture, and this is something that people say they do not understand, bearing in mind these are donations from well-wishers, but now they are being used as PR gimmicks. So
It is something that has caused an uproar on social media, and people are calling out leaders to actually condemn this. And also young youth from here, they are saying that this is not the way to go, particularly because this is a disease and it's not something that they wish their leaders should handle in that manner. Also, Olive, we've seen the Nyeri town, a member of parliament, Mbujiri Wambogo, has also come out defending leaders who have been away, saying that, of course, leaders are also observing the social distancing rule. Remember, they are not allowed to hold public barazas at the moment, and this is why they're saying they've not come out to the grassroots to meet with their constituents, but they're saying that they are working together to ensure that they find a way as parliamentarians to ensure that they will continue with sittings starting from next week. And of course, he also called on well-wishers, saying that they should come out and also assist in the fight against COVID-19. The Nyeri Member of Parliament will also be distributing unga to households in Nyeri, targeting about 2,000 constituents every week. And this is something that, of course, they are saying they will focus on unga alone to ensure that the residents of this particular county are also provided with food. So, Olive, there are so many interventions going on in Nyeri, just to show you the seriousness of the matter and how people are actually involved in ensuring that the residents here are safe. Also, we've seen, following the Ministry of Health directive and the Cabinet Secretary Mutai Kagwe calling on youths to also join the fight, we've seen youths who have come out actually to even join the cause and distribute food to children homes. The youth have said that they are rather showing the humane side of it, just to provide food for those who may not have any. And we've seen them distributing vegetables, cereals, just to ensure that also those in children homes are also provided with food. So, Olive, these are just a number of interventions. We are keeping an eye on these and more developments from this county. Also, Nyeri County is also screening those who are coming into the county via different roads that lead to this county. So, Olive, there's so many interventions. We are following up on each and every one of them, hopefully to keep our viewers informed. But for now, over to you in studio.
All right, thank you very much, Melita. Melita speaking to us on the interventions that have been made in his county, and that is Nyeri County. We now cross over to Mandera County, where we have Ahmed Maulid. Shortly will be joining him, I should say. And after the first confirmation of a COVID-19 case, they're now taking the matter very seriously, and people are wearing masks as instructed by government in public. But the demand for masks and gloves is high. Pharmacies are running low on stock, but the prices of sanitizer have shot up from about 300 to 1,500. The coronavirus is changing the way we mourn, and we mourn the dead, as the country's first victim of the coronavirus was finally laid to rest at his home in Kibomet village in Trans Nzoia. Only 15 people attended the ceremony, according as per government instructions, and that ceremony lasted just 10 minutes as public health officials were on hand to ensure everyone or everything that came into contact with the casket was sanitized.
Just as in any other burial ceremony, mourners gathered at this home to mourn the loss of a man whom they knew well, loved, and whose loss saddened them.
Alikuwa ni mtu generous, sisi wote na ndugu zake hata wa ukoo tumepata faida yake.
Unlike other burial ceremonies that many Kenyan families have become accustomed to, the presence of public health officials, police officers and county administrators took charge of handling the body, with all safety precautions taking precedent before the body could be moved. 15 close family members and friends sat through a strictly 10-minute burial service before the body was moved to the graveside. Even here, public health officials were not taking any chances and fumigated the casket at the burial site to avoid any traces of the virus sneaking through to those in attendance.
The people who are around the 15 have adhered to the laid down guidelines on social distancing.
Musundi, who was the first victim of COVID-19 in the country, was finally being laid to rest after weeks of government laying down plans on how best to handle the bodies of COVID-19 deaths. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
But amid the COVID-19 gloom, there were moments of joy, such as this one in Murang'a, where two became one, as witnessed by an audience of 7. The couple from Murang'a exchanged their vows in a simple ceremony that lasted only 30 minutes. Nayoma Sampao has that story.
In a time increasingly marked by isolation, a small ceremony brought two together and a glimmer of hope.
I give you this ring.
It was a brief and tender ceremony at the Muhito AIPCA Church to join together Lewis Kariuki and Rachel Wanjugu in holy matrimony. This was in line with the government's directive to have less than 15 people attending burials and weddings.
We thought we were going to have a mammoth wedding at PCA high level, but that was not possible because of the situation we are experiencing today.
Due to the pandemic COVID-19, things changed dramatically. And things that have to be done differently because of prevention of the infection of this disease.
My expectations were not like that because we had an expectation of 1,000 people. But
after exchanging the vows, they went home for the wedding reception. Their parents handed them gifts and prayed with them. For the two, their parents' blessings and that of the church was the foundation they needed for their union. They have had to cancel their honeymoon plans to travel to Seychelles as well. There's been no time for love in the time of coronavirus, as many couples have had to shelve their plans to adhere to social distancing. But this couple advises that the virus should not put anyone's life on hold.
When you're mko na maharusi, just go ahead. Yeah, it is not a thing to limit you. Yeah, so just go ahead, do the wedding.
On the bright side, this couple says this pandemic has saved them the financial constraints that come with planning a big wedding. And as they settle into life together, they remain confident that love endures in sickness and in health. Nayoma Sampao, NTV.
We wish them all the very best. ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi has called on the government to ensure the safety of all Kenyans and step up safety campaigns. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, on his part, says all proceeds of corruption should be used to buy masks for free distribution to those in need.
Every effort be made to make these masks easily available, because if you ask a border rider to buy one and buy for his passenger is asking for too much. The monies that are now getting retrieved as proceeds of corruption be applied to make sure that Kenyans are given the masks.
The government must get involved. It must monitor and support each stage in the farming cycle in the country's food basket zones. Many other sectors have also been hit. The future of education is in limbo. The economy is taking a hit as we watch the shilling slide against major international currencies by the day. Unemployment is on the rise. There is a general sense of hopelessness and helplessness in the country. Managing these crises requires that the government wins over the people and travels with them.
Now let's make sense of the sense, and we begin with the Cooperative Alliance of Kenya, CAK, which has urged its members to suspend interest on existing loans for their members, especially for those in sectors which have been heavily hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Victor Kiprop reports on the proposal, which, if adopted, promises a sigh of relief for members of cooperatives, some of whom are already withdrawing their savings to cater for their basic needs as the country's economy takes a beating from the pandemic.
As the Kenyan economy continues taking a beating from the coronavirus pandemic, many Kenyans are finding it hard to survive, necessitating interventions which can help soften the burden for many whose livelihoods have been adversely affected.
We urge societies to consider suspending interest on existing loans during this period of economic downturn.
The umbrella body wants its 14,000 members to waive interest on loans advanced to their borrowers, with more priority given to those sectors hard hit by the pandemic.
We have not been affected on equal measures. Some of our societies, their members who are in the aviation sector, in hospitality sector, in horticultural sector, they have been heavily affected. So we are calling upon other societies to see how we can be able to support our brothers in those society, in those cooperatives.
With more Kenyans losing their jobs or having their income sources depressed, a number of SACCOs are reporting increased cases of members withdrawing their savings in order to cater for daily needs, sending jitters across the sector.
We are in a better position that we will soon overcome this epidemic, and therefore we do not need to panic or to rush to the cooperative societies to withdraw our savings or our deposits, because tomorrow is coming.
The Alliance, in partnership with the State Department for Cooperatives, has already constituted the Cooperative Coronavirus Response Committee to coordinate mobilization of resources and extension of support to members who have been critically affected by the pandemic. Last month, the government allowed cooperatives to pay out dividends and interest on deposits to members without subjecting them through prerequisite annual general meetings. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.
We now cross over to Mandera County, where we have Ahmed Maulid standing by. He tells us following the confirmation of a COVID-19 case in that particular county, the cost of sanitizers has gone up from 300 to 1,500 shillings, and there is a shortage of masks in the pharmacies. Maulid, can you paint a picture for us of what's transpiring in Mandera County?
Thank you, Olive. And as you said, Mandera have tested the first two corona cases in Mandera County before yesterday, and that was on Tuesday. And I can tell you, when the governor announced that officially announced that Mandera have officially announced that they have officially confirmed that there were two coronavirus cases in Mandera County. I can tell you, when that announcement was made, people have come to their senses and started believing that corona is officially now in Mandera. Guess what? They have been flogging to local pharmacies and acquiring all sorts of sanitizers, gloves and masks and all sorts of things, and making even that one to the price of such commodities to shoot up from 300 shilling to 1,500 now. As we speak, the local pharmacists told me that they are now running out of stock and of certain products such as the gloves and the mask and sanitizers. It was never easy that people are now believing, and everyone, if you walk today in town, everyone is wearing masks and gloves and trying to come to terms that the disease is real, and they should be and protect themselves of the deadly disease here. And as you said, what worries and what more shocking is that the two who happen to be from the same family were on Tuesday tested the positive, were here for almost a week, and you can sense that the number of people they have contacted from their homes and from their homes, friends, relatives all over. For almost a week, they were just normal and doing their business as usual. It is one of the patients came to local private hospital just near where I'm standing, that one of the doctors raised the alarm and called the emergency number for COVID-19 for Mandera. And that was when Mandera came to stand still, and there was rumors battling all around that there was certain patients with symptoms like COVID who have been confirmed, and that is when people panicked and all over and started acquiring sanitizers, of which they never believed before. There were several myths that were all over before, that COVID-19 can't survive a temperature like Mandera, and it is not for. And there was a section of residents believing that and that is not for Muslims and others. But now it is reality that COVID-19 is in Mandera. What more worries is that the patient traveled all the way from Nairobi and had a breakfast in Garissa, lunch in Gujia, and now they're in Mandera. The question is more of complex and story when it comes to the COVID-19. Even we were told the number of passengers that have been boarded the same bus with them, and now that the county government are after them and want to force them in quarantine. The family of the two patients are in quarantine in local and.
Maulid speaking to us from Mandera County, sharing the experience from there. He says following the confirmation of 2 positive COVID-19 cases, sanitizers and masks, as well as the gloves such as he wore, are in high demand. So that's it for now. Plenty more coming up. NTV Sasa will be here at 11 a.m. I'll be back at 1 p.m. Until then, enjoy the rest of your viewing.
This is NTV.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Basic protective measures as guided by the World Health Organization. Clean hands frequently with soap and clean water. Cover nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing with a tissue or flexed elbow. Avoid close contact 1 meter or 3 feet with anyone with cold or flu-like symptoms. If you have fever, cough and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Avoid raw or uncooked animal products. Help the world put an end to the spread of respiratory